A lichtaka and freiliche Chanukah, really a Chanukah full of light and happiness to all. Thank you for joining us on this first day of Hanukkah. I don't know who's out there. Just send me a chat. Let me know that you're. Want to know that you're. Want to know you're out there. Please send me your comments. Right. Please participate. I want to share with you a vintage idea. Of course, all my ideas always have something new about them, even if I thought about them in previous years. But nonetheless, this is brand new. I never spoke about this in previous years. So I always try to say something new, even if I'm rehashing an old idea. But this is vintage, brand new idea, stuff to my best of my recollection, I never spoke about ever, not in my writings and not in my audios and not in my videos. And that's to discuss the two very prevalent um, customs that we have on Hanukkah. That one would think it's just done for entertainment purposes. It's sort of like a Hanukkah decoration of some sort. It's a family activity, but it really is. There's depth to it, and not just depth to in it, and philosophically speaking, in a way that relates to Hanukkah in a abstract way. It's a depth to it that relates to Hanukkah in a manner that Hanukkah is still relevant to us here in 2019, as we've said in previous podcasts. The Hanukkah wars never stopped, and right now in 2019, going into 2020, we're embroiled in a modern day Hanukkah struggle. So the ideas behind these two customs is not just an abstract idea that has to do with Hanukkah; it's a practical idea that has to do with the Hanukkah wars of 2019, and that is, the custom that we have to give Hanukkah gelt, give Hanukkah money. Now, the custom devolved, right, into giving gifts. Now, people think in error that we started giving Hanukkah gelt, Hanukkah money, because our Gentile neighbors were giving gifts for their holidays, and that's not true. It's really the other way around. Right? We were giving our kids money as a purely Jewish custom for reasons I'm going to explain. Right? And just, if anything, what we picked up from our Gentile neighbors is giving gifts instead of money. Now, that's justifiable in the sense of the famous principle in Jewish law of shaveh kesef kesef, something's worth money. Worth money is money, right? Because you could sell it and turn it into money. You could use it as money. So you know, but the original custom was to give Hanukkah gelt, money, give money, coins, and as what kind of lingers from that ancient custom is that in our food consumption, our Hanukkah diet, we also have these chocolate coins. We serve chocolate in the shape of coins, reminiscent of the old custom of giving coins, giving money, right? There's that, and there's the other famous one called the Dreidel, right? The game, the top that we spin, that has the four letters. The four letters represent, the evil empires that we've defeated in course of our long course of destiny. It also represents the different powers of the human being, which each one of those empires, each one had a predominant, character trait. Uh, Amongst those characteristics that are common to all of humanity, they had special strengths. Whether it's the gimel, which is the guf, the body, the nun, the nefesh, the spirit, that's the emotional spirit, right? Whether it's the the shin, which is the seichel, that's the intellect, right? Right, or the final nun, right, represents the neshama, the soul itself. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The hay, right? The hay represents also the entirety of the person, meta structure, and encompasses all. Hakol. And of course, there are other ways of working it out, and these are reflected by the different evil empires that we had to go up against. Babylonia, Persia, Greece, and Edom, right? And which is the long exile we're in right now. But the point I want to put stress is, it's about spinning the dreidel, spinning the top. And these two customs kind of interrelate, that generally, to make the game of spinning the dreidel a little bit more exciting, we play for money. And now, again, I'm not going to get into the halachic aspect of it, because gambling is prohibited. But of course, that's gambling is prohibited. First of all, a person who does it on a professional basis loses his standing as a person that could be a trustworthy witness. It's considered to be a type of quasi theft. Because so a person does it professionally cannot be a witness, because it's like same problem as if he were a person who lends for usury, ribis, or if he's a person who steals. But that's if you do it on a consistent professional basis. But even on a one-time basis, it's a real problem of theft. Of taking the money in the pot if the person didn't put the money in the pot with the whole heart, that he's willing to forego it just because he spent, the bad spin. That's the problem with gambling. Gambling is a real problem of theft. But so now the way we reconcile it is that we say it's just for a very small amount of money, that people give really in goodwill, give with a whole heart, and it's to make the festival more enjoyable, and that goodness of heart, to make the festival more enjoyable, that increases the probability that the people throw their money in the pot with a whole heart, because they do it out of the joy of the holiday. And it's also not a lot of money. But sadly, because of this quasi form of gambling, in some circles, it devolved into playing card games. Which has been widely condemned by the rabbis throughout the ages. It was just for the dreidel, for the happiness of the holiday, and it's to combine these two ideas of Hanukkah money and the dreidel. We're going to explain what this has to do with our struggle against the Hellenists of the time. How it alludes to certain philosophical ideas that were implicit in what the struggle was, and how it pertains to 2019. And here we dropped a hint in the title, that it's the metaphysics behind capitalism, and we'll explain that. The part of our battle, the Hellenistic world, which never stopped. It remains the battle between the religious world and the secular world until this day. And that is, not just what is called the good life, but it's also called what's called human achievement. What's called, that I actualized my potential as a human being. I maxed out as a human being. How far can a human being go? How high can he reach? So now, the Torah teaches us that man could be on the level of an angel. Man could be, and as an expression of that, man could be a prophet and speak to God, and God will speak to him. It'll be able to comprehend what God says. You could actualize, the maximum of the actualization of human potential is to climb to an angelic level, or even beyond. because even angels, even though they could receive communications from God, but they still have their own limitations. Rashi brings the name of Chazal. The reason why they send three angels to Abraham, Avram Avinu, is because each angel can only do its thing. Man can do many things. And the angels, they don't have the problem. They don't have the ability to overcome any limitation that they have. And if an angel would have an Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination, oh, he would have no power to overcome it. And that God proved that with the two famous angels, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, Azza and Azael, put them in human form, subjected them to the temptations of the flesh, and they could not overcome. Human being, is the Jew who has the power of his neshama and the power of the Torah. Literally, heaven is the limit, not even the skies. Go above the skies. Heaven itself is the limit. You go all the way up to have a direct connection with the Almighty Himself, to the point that Bilam says, in his prophecy, when God forced him to prophesy good on the Jewish people, he says, at that time we're going to say to the Jewish people, what does God do today? That refers to the angels. We are destined to be in a higher place before God than the angels will ask us, what did God do today? Yes, that is the power of the human being, right? The human being could ascend beyond all the limitations of the flesh to the spirit, to be totally spiritual, right? To be a prophet, to be holy. And that's what they hated about the temple. The temple is a national representation of that. And what makes the Jewish nation special is that it's a spiritual nation that has direct connection with the divine presence. The divine presence dwells even more amongst the Jewish people than it does in heaven. There's a lot to say about it, but it's true, boys. It is true. Right? So it's about progress, real progress. And the and in the and therefore, that's the level that a human being can attain. And the secular world doesn't believe in any of that. The human being is just a sophisticated animal. So what's what I call to live the good life, or to be a sophisticated human being, right? In education, right? But in education you learn, the best stuff, right? Which Judaism accepts also is the hard sciences, right? And that's good. And you see the glory of the physical world that's visible to the eyes, visible in the microscope, visible in the telescope, visible to the mind's eye. If it's like, you know, if it's watertight, that this thing, based on readings that we get, must be, and it's as tight as 1 + 1 = 2. It's called to see things in the mind, but it's still measurements of the physical world, whether it's the quantum realm of the very small or the very large and the dense, like the black holes. But it's still to see the glory of the creator of, within the physical world. We say you can get past that. Not only that, but that's in the sciences, right? And not everyone's cut out for science. But the second world says, hey, sophisticated food. Right? So it's like being about sophisticated animal. Animals eat, yeah, but you eat better food, right? Yeah, music. Animals like, they spawn, What's the famous poetic statement? The music tames the savage beast, right? Yeah. So, like, yeah, they have hearing, we have hearing. We just hear more sophisticated sounds. We have art, See, animals have eyes, we have eyes. We just gaze upon art, you know. Whereas, but it's all game. This is all equally as physical as what the animals see, hear, and eat. Just we call it more sophisticated. We make it culturally valuable. Right? We go into our echo chamber and agree that this is called to be more sophisticated than an animal. Right? And maybe the one thing that the liberals are honest about is, they'll kill humans to save animals, because at least they're being consistent, because to them the human being is no better than an animal. Human sophistication is in food, drink, social life, which is just mating. These animals mate for a constructive purpose. We just go, in the secular world, the chaos, the shapelessness and formlessness of the social scene is just to use the mating process for pure pleasure of the flesh, right? So in Greeks, in their days, they spoke about the philosopher. The philosopher gets out of the box, and the other guy remains a barbarian, right? But even their philosopher, first of all, who told them? What that because you'll know mathematics, you'll be immortal. Who promised them that? And the immortality only goes on the consciousness that learned the mathematics. The body's a piece of garbage, right? They so when it really comes down to it, the body is useless. Is it philosophically right or wrong during your lifetime to engage in pleasures of the flesh? They had their disagreements. It should be minimized, or what the heck? You're here anyway. That the disagreements, Epicurus versus his most other philosophers that kind of preach that there is some value in abstaining from physical pleasure, to make you more intellectual. Epicurus said, even he wasn't in favor of open, unended indulgence because that's painful. Also, if you want to avoid pain, you can't overindulge either. All right, but as it were, he didn't see any value, in abstinence. But even if they saw value in abstinence, it was all for the purpose that you shouldn't be distracted from your studies. I mean, your studies is your mathematics, your sciences. And that's really they just wanted to believe that if you are scientifically informed, something of you will live on after you're dead, but it won't be your body. It'll just be your consciousness. Right, and Jews and preachers, even the body could be sanctified, and we go way beyond where mathematics and sciences reaches. Sciences and mathematics don't allow for miracles. You take the world that you observe, as static, and these are the laws of reality. You don't believe they could change, and we believe these things are iron hard rules because God wants them, but it's only by divine will, and therefore, if you want something different, it could change like that. Yeah. That's what we believe. And not only that, we also don't believe that man is locked into his nature. It's free will. They don't believe in free will, right? In a mechanical world of mechanical world, which includes the mechanics of biochemistry, you are what you are. Right? You are what you are. For some reason, they don't believe that when it comes to gender, which is a stupid thing. Right? But otherwise, they say you are what you are, and there's no changing. That's me, And we say no. Man has come here to change his nature and to combat and overcome all his shortcomings, right? And to make sure that he dies as a superior being to the way he was born. By then, you wish you'd be so pure as the way you were born at the time you died. So we believe in the power of free will to overcome temptation, overcome limitations, to change our character for the purpose of improving it, to even sanctify the body, not just and real sanctification, that there's a spiritual realm that transcends, that is beyond biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics. There is a higher realm, and you could connect to it. You could elevate yourself to that realm, and you could connect that realm and experience prophecy, and hence, eventually, at the time of the resurrection, not just the soul, but even the body will be on a higher level than the angels. Will be sanctified. Will become more spiritual than the angels. Stand closer to the level of God than even the angels. Right? That's what we believe in. Progress, real change. Universally in the form of miracles regarding ourselves, that we can change our character for the better. We could make ourselves different than the nature that we were born with, but not changing gender. And that's crazy, squaring the circle. And we, of course, part of our spiritual actuality is to actualize the mission that we were born to aspire to fulfill. And our gender is part of our mission. Okay, but we will leave that to another discussion. Yeah, but but I'll just mention again, we are meant to change ourselves and advance ourselves more than secular culture could ever give us the tools to advance ourselves in. Secular culture just are forms of pleasures of the flesh, not qualitatively different than what an animal has, right? It's just same stuff in a different window dressing, roughly, more or less, right? A little bit of intellectual satisfaction about the physical world, and transcendent, right? That might be the one thing we have the animals don't, right? But it's not transcendent. It's an intellectual appreciation of the physical world that we share with the animals, right? And the Torah gives us the ability to change ourselves to the angelic, right? And opens up our minds to the possibility that, excuse me, there's more to the three-dimensional world, and miracles are possible, and there's the possibilities that you can pray for. It's a world full of possibilities that the laws of nature do not rule out. The laws of nature is the way God wants to run the world on a day-to-day basis. There are no way a limitation on what's really possible. Right? We go against the nature that we're born. We believe we could change our biochemistry. And science is just beginning to catch up that with the idea of neuroplasticity. It's not been totally accepted yet. Free will to go against our biochemistry, to choose against our temptations, and with that to advance ourselves from the physical to the spiritual. Therefore, merit, parallel to that, that God will do miracles for us. You try to transcend the physical, he will respond measure for measure and do miracles for you, as he has done for the Jewish people. And the Greeks didn't believe in any of that. So now, where does that go back to the idea of money and the Dreidel, which is the metaphysics behind capitalism. Capitalism, like all good things, you could use it as a metaphor for the spiritual, or you could just get hung up on its externalities and devalue it to be the same as all other physical endeavors. But here's the point, an amazing thing to realize. Right? The first time we found capitalism, buying and selling in the Torah is the first time we found the concept of an honorary eulogy and burial. It all comes together. It's amazing. Right? There's Sarah, our matriarch, dies. Abraham wants to honor her and buy her a nice burial place. And he does an acquisition, and he does a real estate deal with Ephron and buys the cave of Machpelah. That's right. Hebron is Jewish territory. Our father Abraham bought it. That's the fact that God gave us that land, but he bought it fair and square. Hebron is a Jewish city owned by our patriarch Abraham, bought it fair and square, particularly the cave where the patriarchs and matriarchs are buried. Right? It was a business deal, and the Torah constantly mentions the Bnei Ches, the Hittites, that the Ches people that witnessed the sale to teach you that it's an honor to attest the acquisition of a righteous man. Like something like holy about what acquisitions and buying commerce that's conducted by a tzaddik. Like that. And after that, it's just after he buried Sarah with that eulogy, and it all goes together with buying a real estate deal. Then we have how he sends out Eliezer to go find a wife for Yitzchak. Right? And he brings back Rivka, marriage. Interesting. Marriage between male and female. Only definition of marriage. Right? And all these things are come together. And so now Abraham paid Ephron with Arbana shekel kesef over lasocher, 400 shekel of money that over lasocher could be spent anywhere. It was good currency that gets accepted anywhere. And why does the Torah tell us all this? Like, it tells us all the details of the acquisition and mentions the Bnei Ches, the children of Ches that attested, they were witness to this acquisition. Because it's a great thing, the acquisition of a tzaddik. Right? Well, all these things go together, right? Avram and Sarah are now starting the Jewish people, and the Jewish people are coming to pick up from the sin of Adam. Adam and Eve ran around naked because the body was nothing to be ashamed of at the time, because they were so spiritually pure. Right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil did not give them added intelligence, actually decreased their intelligence. Because we explained this in a previous podcast, what Maimonides says, that before they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they didn't think in those relativistic terms. Don't liberals call their way good? Don't they call our way, the way of biblical values, immoral by modern standards? God forbid. Good and evil are relativistic terms. It's a game. You argue the upside of an issue, you argue the downside of an issue, and absolute truth everyone's blind to. Adam and Eve, before they ate from that tree of good and evil, had knowledge of truth versus false. They saw things in absolute terms. Everything that God created for a constructive purpose, they saw as the truth, right? Like the body, it's meant for constructive purpose, right? To do mitzvahs, to get married and increase the species as God wants. Right? They looked at their bodies no different than we look at tefillin, phylacteries, tzitzis, not to be ashamed of. Just when they started seeing things in relativistic terms, they realized that the body it could be used for bad, and it's full of temptation, and then all of a sudden the body becomes something to be covered. Right? It's only when your head goes there. You have a dirty mind. When you have a dirty mind, the body needs to be covered. To the pure mind that only sees God's will, there's nothing to be ashamed of. We don't have that mentality anymore because of the sin of Adam. The Torah is there to get us back to, the perspective, give us a knowledge and a perspective like Adam had before he ate from the tree. So Adam and Eve are coming to, Adam and Eve, which are also buried in that cave of Machpelah. So Abram and Sarah are going to start the Jewish people that are trying to pick up the pieces and have a legacy that is reminiscent of what Adam and Eve were, and to get us back there eventually, as we believe we will reattain that level of purity of Eden in the future and even get past that. That's the greatness that we're preaching. We will change the nature that that's been thrust upon us because of the original. So we're going to change that nature. We're going to elevate ourselves, and by ripple effect, the whole world, until this whole world will be, refashioned in a higher spiritual form. We will be. It includes the whole physical. It includes our bodies. So seeing the potential of how the body could be a holy vessel. Right? That's why the body deserves a eulogy and a proper burial. You don't throw it out like a piece of junk. Right? The body is holy because it is the human experience of being even greater than angels is soul and body. That's the whole greatness. A soul outside of a body doesn't change. Who's it going to change? Who's it going to improve? A soul in the body evolves, for lack of a better word, develops the body, raises it to a higher level to the point that it and the body rise to a level even higher than angels. The whole purpose of the soul going into the body is to change the body. And the soul changes itself by changing the body because it acquires merit. The merit of elevating something else is a merit for the soul itself. So the soul also comes out ahead. And it's because the soul went in the body and changes the body that man does more than angels could ever do. Angels can't change their nature. nor can they change the nature of anything else. They have their programming, and whatever they administer according to that program. Right? Man, can elevate himself, change himself, and change the world around him, and that's only with the power of the soul and the power of the Torah, things that the Hellenists and the Greeks didn't believe in the way we do, in the sense that we do. They just wanted to believe that if you absorb some sciences, something will be left of your consciousness. They didn't believe the body's coming back. Right? No way to change the body, make it a spiritual creature. Right? The thing is that all they have to offer in their culture, right, is just a physical experience being passed off, being something better than what the animals have, even though there's difference, a external difference, a difference in style, but not this difference in substance. So same physical stuff or ideas about the same physical world we share with the animals. Right, so the Jewish people, the nation of the Torah, reveal the sanctity of the body. The body can be elevated, right? And man and woman, the Zohar says right there on the spot, man and woman, the integrated unit of, yes, man and woman is a soul-body relationship. Man, elevates his wife and gets elevated by elevating his wife, like the soul to the body. Right? Abraham, honoring Sarah's body also is how the soul also honors the body. And the Zohar teaches us that the soul attends the funeral of the body and also delivers a eulogy on the body, misses the body. Can't wait to be reunited with the body by the resurrection. And the body, when it gets resurrected, indeed becomes super spiritual, that it could totally merge with the soul and they could together go and be in a higher place than the angels. That's what the Greeks were so jealous of. They gave the world culture, like the leftists say, they're the cultured, enlightened people, and this is the enlightened way, and anything else is barbaric, cruel, or racist. Right? And I would say no, enlightenment lays by us, and they know it, and that's why they hate us so much. All right, so but the thing is like this. That's the beauty of capitalism. Right? Capitalism is the possibility to advance. Right? In socialism, you get what the government gives you. It's a form of slavery. It's a plantation. The Talmud says that slaves don't actually want to go free. They're afraid to fend for themselves. Right? Under the master, they have their. It may not be great, but they pretty much have their lives set out for them. That's what they want for you. They want socialism, right? Just like we say spiritually, a person can advance, right? Change himself, and by ripple effect, change the world, right? And make real change, not like same stuff, just a different window dressing, right? Used to be. There's between being a Democrat and a Republican is difference in name only. Now it's a real difference. Boiled down to a real spiritual struggle, a real cultural struggle. Right? They want you. They want you subject. They want you. They want to erode national identity. They'll say it's for world peace. No, it's that there'll be globalization, and a few old people in Brussels will decide for the whole world the way they should live and what they should. Socialism is to decide where everyone gets, and you'll be hopeless to advance yourself. You won't be able to advance yourself. How will you advance yourself? Right? You're stuck where the government places you. You're stuck there, not just financially. You're stuck there also status-wise. You're stuck there as a human being. It's a terrible form of slavery that the lazy person, and yes, and slaves do indeed, the Gemara slaves, Avda Befker Nicholai, they like the life of having no responsibility for themselves. Everything is charted out for them. A life of no financial responsibility, a life of no moral responsibility. You're treated like an animal, and you could behave like an animal. You don't have to, make moral decisions. The master decides everything for you. And slaves could easily get used to that and want that. And that's the disease of people who just can't get off welfare. They're slaves to the government, and the Democrats and leftists love that. But it's terrible. You know, the capitalism is, buying and selling is advancement. First of all, that you could advance yourself financially, and that's just an outer level and a metaphor of how also spiritually could. It's also about changing the world with buying and selling, right? You move the pieces around. A field that used to belong to Ephraim now belongs to Abraham. Right? Used to be Hittite type of real estate, belonged to the Hittite people, now belongs to the Jewish people, and that rearranges the cosmos because whoever controls the land of Israel is controlling point center of reality, not just the center of this globe, but has a ripple effect through all the infinite points called the center. The center, goes through all the infinite different dimensions that there are, the physical and the spiritual. Center of all dimensions. Whoever controls the land of Israel has is in a seriously strong cosmic position. And that's why there's so much contention over that small piece of land. It's small like the point center is infinitesimally small. Whoever controls it is in the power seat. And so look at what commerce could do. It moves the pieces around, right? And it's about moving the piece around. It's about influence. Money circulates. Avram gave Ephraim money that circulates, could easily be spent in any place in the world. It could go round and round and round. That's influence. And the Ramchal, Luzzatto says, in regard to the money that Avram gave Ephraim, it's a metaphor for Torah. Torah should, much of Torah spread throughout the world, spin around the world, influencing, influencing. That's influence, influence in a positive, moving the piece around to reconfigure things in a higher form. Influence going round and round. That's the power of commerce and capitalism and money is the outer, it's a external metaphor, right? For advancement, spiritual advancement, influence, changing and reconfiguring reality in a higher form, right? Preparation for it to become spiritual. Yeah, maybe it's by no coincidence Jews were always involved in commerce, center of commerce. Yeah, and the land of Israel is also back in the days where, even today, it's a great place if you want to have commerce between the West and the East. Very, very, and it's that's why Jews have always been merchants. It's about movement, not staying still, not being stagnant, not being on the plantation. They want to sell you on this lie that healthcare is a right, housing is a right. That's baloney. Who owes it to you? But you understand they're telling you that, right? So you should vote for them, and maybe they will give you. They probably won't, and eventually, as Margaret Thatcher said, right? Socialism is a great idea until you run out of other people's money. They just tell you there's this concept they're called the rich that they're going to steal from. There's the rich that they're going to steal from. Yeah, who are these rich people that have infinite money that will actually part with it willingly? Nonsense, right? Yeah, at one point, people are just going to be too lazy to work because why should I? Just give it to me as a handout. Right? Who's going to be conditioned to work? Who's going to work if they have nothing to gain? Everything is given to you by the government. So why should I work? We'll have the motivation to work, to become the rich that the government steals from. It's ridiculous. Hopefully, it'll come collapsing down. But in the short range, you're going to be tremendously dependent upon them to get that house and to get that healthcare, which will eventually, the whole thing will collapse, right? As we know, socialism doesn't last until you run out of other people's money. You run out of people you can steal. As opposed to commerce and trade, which is done willingly and all parties benefit. All right, so they tell you that, so you should be dependent upon them, and you'll be stuck with the house that they give you. It's a right. It means also if you buy into that lie, and you'll be the first generation that, let's say, will reap the benefits, for lack of a better word, of the new world order before the whole damn thing collapses. So you'll have that, but that little apartment that they give you, which might be good for you, if you're homeless, or if you start off with a small family, you'll be stuck there. You'll be stuck with whatever health plan they give you. And they want that, and you're dependent on them. Right? You will not be able to advance. Right? Greatness of God, to advance and to move the pieces around, spin things around like the Dreidel. That's the Chanukah gelt, capitalism, the ability to advance, right? And also that positive effect of advancement. It spins around the world. The money circulates, right? The benefit that you get also filters out to other people, but it's called the sphere of influence, but positive influence, right? So that's the Dreidel, the spin. That so like we said, everything, all the letters in the Dreidel represent different character traits for different nations of the world. Each nation was dominant in a particular character trait. Like the Greeks dominant in the shin, the seichel, the intellect. The Babylonians in nefesh, and the emotions, and the Parsin, right? The Persians in the guf, right? Edom in the whole, all of it, right? Roman Empire incorporated, assimilated everything. Right? But we say it could all spin, it could change, it could be moving. It doesn't have to stay that way. They want to stay that way. Right? They are resistant to change, right? And they want to keep things a certain way. They want to keep things under control. Right? They say they're for progress and for change. No, they want to rip down our progress, the progress that religion brings to the world. Right? Religion in general, Torah in particular, brings change to real change, moral advancement, right? And spiritual advancement. They want to rip down all that in the name of progress to really keep man stuck, a dependent animal, as an animal and a dependent animal, as a slave to all desires of the flesh. All right, so that's what it is. These are my reflections. The Chanukah gelt and the spin of the dreidel, all representing, the metaphysics behind capitalism. If we take capitalism, and use as a metaphor for the power of the Torah to advance and to reconfigure the world in a higher form, right, and to influence in a positive way, the way money goes round and round and round, just bringing prosperity and goodness to wherever it goes, right? And with this, we can also understand why, this war against, it's really a war against God and against the Torah and against the Bible. And as an extension, it's a war against President Trump and the real, genuine American spirit of the founding fathers. It was based on biblical values. So now you understand why, by no coincidence, they want to rip down capitalism also. Alech to Chanukah, everybody.